Look, demonizing children is wrong. We have to keep them safe as well. Have you ever taught middle school? I have. Have you ever raised young people? Do you understand the risk that young people take just because they're young? Do you know that home plate is at the bottom of my stairs? I found that out when my son was sliding down those stairs trying to score. They're young. Sometimes they make silly decisions. They do. And so we have to make sure that we are investing to make sure that young people know that they are supported.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Joining me now, Evita Duffy-Alfonso. She's a writer at The Federalist, also co-founder of the Chicago Thinker. Evita, they're just kids being kids, just sliding down the stairs into home plate. It's so adorable watching these kids be kids.
These are not kids being kids. This is outrageous behavior from teenagers in Chicago. People are dying on the streets from what's happening. It's not just kids making mistakes, sliding down the stairs. I think that's a ridiculous answer. And I have to say that there was a lot of debate in Chicago of, okay, who's going to be worse, Brandon Johnson or Lori Lightfoot? 100% Brandon Johnson is shaping up to be much worse than Lori Lightfoot. That clip right there is a signal to all of the criminals in Chicago that if you misbehave, if you go downtown, if you cause a ruckus, if you steal, if you hurt people, that's going to be okay in Chicago. And by the way, the same thing has happened with Kim Foxx without not prosecuting criminals in the city. There are signals to people, to bad people, that your behavior will be allowed because of equity politics. And I have to say that one, they're instigating crime, but also there is a problem with young people in the city not having opportunities. He's partially right. And the reason that they don't have opportunities and the reason that they're going downtown and causing all this ruckus and having all these issues is because of Democrat policies creating economic disaster in Chicago, shutting down Black businesses during COVID, keeping them trapped in the worst schools because of teachers' unions. Democrat policies are the reason that young Black people in Chicago's South Side don't have opportunities. And so I think it's really hypocritical of him to even mention that.
Yeah, I get it, but Evita, Black people voted for him. I've seen the breakdown of who voted for Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson got elected by the Black neighborhoods in Chicago. So look, that's just a fact. Why am I supposed to care? You keep voting for the biggest freaking morons. Why do I care?
Yeah, I think it's really frustrating for conservatives, especially a conservative who's lived in Chicago. I know myself. It was so frustrating to see people continually vote for the worst candidates over and over again. But I will say this, and I'm Hispanic. I'm a conservative Hispanic, but I have a lot of family members who started voting Democrat when they came from Mexico in the 1930s during the Great Depression and never stopped. There's a cycle of voting Democrat in these cities and among minorities. And there's it comes to Republicans to really do a better job with messaging and also realizing that to message to them, you have to realize that there's a perception that the other side is racist. The Democrats, they lie. They go in and they say anybody that wants to, support the police, well, they're doing that because they're racist. Anybody that, wants to lower taxes, well, they're doing it because they're racist. They want to take away, the benefits that you guys get. And this kind of rhetoric is what keeps people in a cycle of voting Democrat. And Republicans have to strategize a way to stop that. It can happen. I'm proof of it. But we have to be really purposeful as we deal with people who are in cycles of voting Democrat.
Kim Foxx, you mentioned her earlier, Soros-funded DA. She's not running for re-election, so I guess maybe I have a little bit of hope, but is Chicago just going to run out and vote for another Soros-funded DA?
Yeah, Kim Foxx, first of all, is a horrible DA. Very similar to prosecutors that you see in Los Angeles and in New York. Just last weekend, there was a 6-month-old child who was killed in a car accident because of reckless teen drivers in a stolen vehicle. And those killers, those people who stole that vehicle, those teens, have only been charged with a misdemeanor. That's the kind of city that Kim Foxx has run. She's like I said, signal to all the criminals in the city that we are not going to put you behind bars. There will be no consequences for your actions. And I'd like to think that Chicago would vote for a better DA. I think that there, again, is a Chicago machine. There's a lot of money at play. A lot of people like George Soros have a lot of sway in the city. And so I'd like to think that somebody better is going to come into office and be the DA. I just don't see that happening.